In grade 12, today I will be recording a video for our new topic for the mode B. So allow me to share my screen. So if you can still remember in our previous session, okay, in our previous session, we had a discussion about the general or common characteristics when we can consider an organism as a living thing. So we had a brief assessment for that. So let us just recall a little bit, no, before we go to another topic. So I just want you to go back to the organization part. So remember, if you can remember, we have this characteristics, and one of which is organisms or living organisms are organized. Okay, so I want to emphasize on this one, organized. So I have shown you this diagram before, and then you can see that the living organisms are sophisticatedly organized. So all the living organisms have elements made up of atoms, then atoms come together to make molecules, then there are cell organelles inside our cell. Okay, so if we are living organisms are organized in a vertical manner and also in a horizontal manner, because horizontal manner taxonomy na siya class, how the living things organized this way, what is or are the bases is mainly what type of cells they are made of. Okay, so I want you to remember this one, because this is our way why we are organized in this manner in the field of taxonomy in the phylogenetic tree of life. So balikta, there we are made of cells, see, in the organization. Pero have you ever wondered kinsay nag-say na we are made up of cells? How this came about? Okay, so this is our main topic for this morning. Nganong naay niingon og cell? Asa jud ni nagikan nga we are all made up of cell? And that is because of the cell theory, which is the foundation of the core foundation of biology. So we are going to have or to look back at the history kinsay naghatag sa idea nga we are all made up of cell. Okay? So what are this? There are three fundamental foundation in the field of biology. We call that cell theory. Okay? Ingon sila, they said that the first theory is that cells are the smallest and basic unit of structure and functions in organisms. Second is tanan nga living things are made up of one or more cells. And the third is the cells arise only from previously existing cells. Okay, so these are the three. So who are the scientists behind these theories? Okay, asa nagsugod when, if you're going to take a look at this timeline, no, from 1500s hantud sa 1800s. So we are going to know this scientists behind the cell theory. So when it all began, okay, it all began when Zacharias Johnson and his father was able to invent a microscope, because when there is a microscope class, when this was discovered or invented, it opened it was a eureka moment for biology. Why? Because they're able to observe the tiny microorganisms that cannot be seen by the human eye. And because of this breakthrough development during that time in Europe, it's like a latest iPhone nga everyone wants to have a piece of this, wants to have this gadget. No, muna pinakasikat nga gadget at that time. No, and thanks to Zacharias Johnson and his father Hans. Okay, asa ni nahitabo sa Holland, 1500s, 1590s, padung na 1600s. So Robert Hooke, no, which is an English physicist, was able to get a microscope from Johnson. Okay, nakapalit sad siya. And kani siya, muni ang iyahang primitive microscope during that time. And this is how it looks like. Okay, so he was observing, he was slicing a cork a cork. And then this is how it looks like when he observed it under the microscope. So he noticed nga, hala, this is how it looks like di ay kung i-slice nimo ang cork kana bitaw na sa wine, no? And then he realized no nga mura siya mga gagmay nga selda, gagmay nga compartments of spaces. So that is why he came mura siya selda ba cell. So that is from where the word cell coming from the word cellulae, like a small room, no? So mona nga naa natay word nga cell thanks to Robert Hooke. So what he observed in the microscope, all the things that he observed under the microscope, he published that in a book called Micrographia. So all the things he's seen under the microscope is here. Okay? So, but then again, iyan na na-publish. So nakakuha og copy sa book si Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Okay? Anton von Leeuwenhoek is also a very much interested with the unseen world, no, the microorganisms world. But he is not contented with the microscope lens. So he perfected the lenses. No, he was able to make so many types of lens, mga 300 pieces that time. And he was the first one to observe a live cell. Kang Robert Hooke was dead man to. So kani iyahang na-observe is alive. He observed water sample from the pond. He was able to observe protists. Okay, this is how it looks like. So how do we use it's how it is being used. So different types of lenses. So katong kang Robert Hooke 30 times ang magnification, kani iya is 300 times. Imagine that one. Unsa ka duol, no? Unsa ka ma-magnify. So everything he sees under the microscope, iyang kiki, ang sperm, he was able to, a live sperm, ang iyahang mga gunk sa teeth, the bacteria inside the mouth, iyahan ang na-observe. And he called those things or organisms that he observed under that animalcules. Okay, he is the one who observed living cell. Okay, remember that. Okay, and what happened next? So from 1590s to until 1700s, na mo na ang time. Na ano ba na dayon, na follow through ba na dayon during the time? Wala, because that time nalubong rin siya nga idea na wala na further, nakalimtan. Why? Because during that time ang pinakasikat kaayo ato si Sir Isaac Newton sa physics nga part. So nakalimtan ni siya nga part. So kano sama ni siya na follow throughhan again. Okay, so this is the real original lens of Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Pila pa ka years after class, almost 100 years, no? So sunod na ay Dutch, German, sorry. Okay? So after that, nag-ukay sa mga books ni Anton van Leeuwenhoek, nag-follow through. And it was Matthias Schleiden. He is a botanist. When we say botanist, studying the plants, right? So daghan kay siya study about plants, and he said, hala, whenever he is observing a plant under the microscope, he noticed nga pareha siya sa giingon ni Robert Hooke, because the cork is a plant and this is what he see. But the good thing is this is alive. He was able to observe the parts, the organelles inside a plant cell. So you can notice nga squarish and very interspace kaayo dugol siya. So he draw that in his journal, and he concluded nga tanan daay nga plants are all made of cells. And not far from his place, also a German, but this time si Schwann. Schwann has able to come to a conclusion that animals are also made of cells. So si Schneider, ingon siya plants are made up of cells. Si Schwann, ingon siya nga all the animals are also made up of cells. So naanay sa zoology o sa botany. So nagkuan sila, nag-work together sila kus dugol raman, so publication gi-publish, then publication. So this is a circle of scientists, puros mga German. So 1839, right after, years after that, so 39, so 1858 ni come to picture si Rodolph Virchow. Okay? And siya ang niingon nga tanan nga cells comes from pre-existing cells. He is also a German. So duol ra, no? So nag-work together sila. Actually, si Virchow is actually quite kanang controversial na iyang pag-publish because ingon nila na dili gud ni iyang study, iyang kinawat ang study from Robert Mark. But we will not entertain Virchow lang ato because that is the main bit, but na intriga, no, during this time. And then so kung baliko nato ang cell theory nga tulo ka buok, niana siya, niana di ba nga all organisms are made up of one or more cells, and that is supported, evidence is supported by Schleiden and Swan, right? And the second theory was that cells are the smallest and basic unit of structure and function in organism. That is also being evidently studied by Schleiden and Swan. Then the third cell theory is cells arise only from previously existing cells, which is Virchow. Okay? So, makakita mo nga kani nga cell theory, this cell theory does not happen overnight, no? Nagsugod na sa 1500s until 1858. So imagine the number of years devoted to come up to this foundation in biology. Among this cell theory, which do you think is the most controversial of all? The most controversial of all is actually the third one. Why? Daghan kaayo during that time in 1800s, dili mo tuo nga ang cells comes only from pre-existing cells. Why this happened? Because years, okay, because I will explain nga no, this is controversial. Why? Because there are so many scientists nga nagthink, nga nagsigi og ingon nga there should be or there is the last universal common ancestor. Okay, so mo ni ang giingon ni Virchow nga tanan nga cells nga before you become a multicellular, we all have a universal common ancestor. We call that for short LUCA. Okay, so kita siguro tanan nag-emerge from this LUCA. So this arise so many questions among scientists during that time, di ba? And then ngano man nga controversial to nga dili mo tuo nga tanan nga cells comes from pre-existing cells. Why? Because there is a prior. Si Aristotle during that time sa 300 BC, siya nag-ingon daan nga ang living things is random. This just kanang ni-arise ra na siya randomly. Even ang meat, naaray life nga mo, dead meat, naaray life nga mo gawas diha. And that is random. And that has been in the minds of people for so many years. So that is why naglisod sila og kanang accept sa theory ni Virchow that cells are coming from pre-existing cells. Now, kaning abiogenesis has been challenged. Okay, challenge na siya ni katong kang Aristotle 2,300 years ago. Kinsa man ang nag-challenge and nag-prove ana nga dili na tinuod nga random lang mo come about ang life anywhere. No, that is proven 1861. So 1858 from Virchow, no, daghan kaayong nag-challenge sa iyang giingon nga all cells comes from pre-existing cells, and then here comes another scientist which is Louis Pasteur. Okay? Si Louis Pasteur ang nag-ingon nga dili man na tinuod, and I will prove that to you nga dili, you cannot just find life anywhere. You cannot find life from the rock. It's impossible. No, so si Louis Pasteur, because of his experiment, siya ang naka-convince tanan sa mga people during that time nga tinuod nga cells comes from pre-existing cells, and it's not a biogenesis. It doesn't just come out from anywhere. Okay, what did he do? He made an experiment. Okay? He made a Pasteur experiment. Now you can see that the design is a swan neck. So what he do is broth, mura bitaw water nga naay chicken cubes na gidissolve and then iyahang gi-boil para ma-sterilize. Okay? And then sterilized broth cools down. So ang microbes nga gikan sa gawas is trapped here. Dili maka-go further dire, right? So wala joy ang ilahang gi-observe ani kung naa pa joy life nga mo come about ani, no? Mo naa pa joy life nga mo just emerge from nowhere. So dapat gi-sterilize ang medium. And then right after that, kani ang first. So ang broth remain sterile. And then kay naabay life, wala joy life, di ba? Nga na kuan ni emerge from this sterile. So when the flask is tilted, broth contacts microscope in neck of the flask. So meaning, pag tilt ani, ang kaning broth, maka-feed na siya dire. Okay, maka-feed na siya dire. And then, hours right after, ang broth contaminated. So, say bottom line animes kaninga theory or kaninga experiment. So, days after nga walay contamination, walay life nga ni-emerge, only lang pag come in contact kani siya, kay na-trap baya dire. No, so meaning, if there is a sterile, what your life nga mo emerge in a random? Only if na ay factor from the outside because kaning broth nag-feed naman sa mga bacteria nga na-trap dire. So, this, the microbes replicate in broth. So right away, na-feed, and then there is a replication. So this experiment supported the theory of biogenesis, meaning cells comes from pre-existing, not nga kanisiya, not a biogenesis nga dili lang mo emerge ang life diri, but only from pre-existing because the microbes here comes in contact with the broth, now replicates and divides. Okay, so this is a breakthrough again, challenging the Aristotle proposal or iyahang gihatag nga idea nga a biogenesis ta. Okay, so kana mo na-prove ni Louis Pasteur. So daghan still, no, daghang nagsigingon asa jud ay gikan ang first cell? Asa jud ay how is it came about? And now naay nag-support na sad ni come forward sa support sa claim ni Aristotle. Okay? He uses the organic chemical evolution hypothesis that he said that the life originated as primitive cells from inorganic and organic molecules. So kani iya ha, di ba before, ningon na nga, oy, from inorganic man na life diha. And then na here comes nga pre-existing, then cells arise from pre-existing. So this theory more like combine ang forming of inorganic and organic molecule. So is this true? Is this hypothesis being supported? Kinsa man na ang nag-experiment. So from unsa ganito ang time ni 1861. So pag 1861 to no, so pag 1938, so years after that, we have this Alexander Oparin. Alexander Oparin was the first one to propose nga ang naa sa outer space, okay, nga with the lightning, with the ultraviolet radiation from the sun, na ay mahimo diha nga life. Okay? So more inclined siya sa idea ni Aristotle. Okay. So kani nga idea has been supported again by Stanley Miller and Harold Urey. Okay, because they are seeking about the origin of life. So unsa ilahang gihimo? Okay, unsa ilahang gihimo? They mimic an experiment that is happening in the outer space. So here in the outer space, na ay sun, na ay ultraviolet rays, and then what they did, gisimulate na nila sa laboratory. Okay? So ilang usay nahitabo mo ni ang ilahang setup. So in their setup, there is a heated water. So this mimic the ocean. And this ocean, okay, gihimong water vapor. and come in contact with the lightning simulation and the atmosphere and condenses, and then here makuha sila og sample unsay nahitabo. And when they were able to get a sample of water, okay, after the ocean water simulated, come in contact with the lightning and atmosphere condenser, ilahan nigi kuhaan og sample. Okay, what they discovered is astonishing. Why? Because kanikang Alexander Oparin hypothesis ang naghimo sa experiment si Harold Murray and Quat. So what they find out when they collected the sample, it's like a rainbow, no? Kay ilaha magi-simulate ang outer space na hitabo. All the gases, all the elements in the outer space will come in contact. And then what happened? Ang ilang when they analyzed the sample, they were so astonished that there is an amino acid nga being formed. Class, remember, amino acid is the building block. This is proteins, right? This is the building blocks of life. All the life has amino acids. And this is very surprising. So, excuse me. If you are going to look back to the history, imagine how many years, no, and until present class, daghan pa kayo question where life comes from and the challenging about the cell theory. So imagine from the discovery or invention of the microscope, then there are a series of scientists, and you can see from 1500s until 1953. Pila na unsa na kadugay nga stage of discovery, and thanks to our scientists, we're able to use that theory as our foundation for the study of life. Okay, so this is the totality of the cell theory. So, unsa ganito ang pinaka-powerful tool na gigamit nila para ma-study ang microorganisms that cannot be seen by the naked eye, thanks to the powerful tool that is the microscope. Okay, so we need also to be thankful for the discovery of the microscope. So please remember that for the cell theory, all organisms are made up of one or more cells. Cells are the smallest and basic unit and structure and function in organisms, and cells arise from previously existing cells. So yeah, that's it. And I hope you will view this video, because I will have recap about this, and we will have session activity for this relating to this topic. Okay, thank you.